Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SmokeDown. Here tonight. We are 2 weeks away, just 2 weeks away from the American Hash, the SmokeDown exclusive event, the last stop before Cannabis Slam, the second biggest weed event of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we had an epic Jon match in the Jon division. Probably one of the best Jon division matches I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you haven't seen it, then I definitely encourage you 100% to go back and re-watch. Jon 60 versus Jon 2. Jon 2 pulled a 180, came out with a completely different character in which we're used to seeing from him. Furthermore, tonight, Jon 60, after picking up the victory, he is the real Jon champion, claims to be the realest real Jon that there happens to be at the moment. He's going one-on-one with Jon III. There happens to be 6 Jons at the moment who all claim to be the real Jon, and that's why we have a real Jon championship, because it is an actual problem. It's not really one of those things where people are fighting to get to the World Weed title. These guys right here are legitimately fighting because all of their names happen to be Jon, spelled with specifically Jon. Not a single one is spelled John. And they just all contend with each other, and we had to create a fucking division and a belt for it, and this is where we are. Jon 60 looking to pull off another incredible match against Jon III. In 2 weeks' time, the #1 contender to the real Jon title, Jon 1.1, faces Jon 60. We'll see what unfolds here tonight on SmokeDown Live. The crowd is going wild. We're live in the SmokeDown Arena here tonight, and the real Jon champion is making his way out to the ring after an absolutely monumental matchup from last week on SmokeDown. Like I said, if you did not see it, you should definitely go back and watch it. And the highlight reels and all of the former videos of SmokeDown in the past, I'm completely letting you know. I mean, we may see a hell of a Jon matchup tonight. I mean, I'm underestimating what Jon III, who was actually in the Death Bowl 2 tournament, might pull out against the real Jon champion. A couple weeks back on SmokeDown, Jon 1.11 himself, a real Jon fatal 4-way #1 contenders match to go on to face the real Jon champion, Jon 60, at the American Hash. He will be getting his one-on-one matchup before Cannabis Slam takes place. The winner of this match goes on to Cannabis Slam to defend the real Jon championship. And what kind of match against who, which Jon, we'll find out in weeks coming time. But it's going to be between the realest Jon of them all, who claims to be Jon 60, defending the champion, against Jon 1.1, the one who stuck around for the longer time than any of the other Jons. So in my opinion, I think Jon 1.1 could come out with the victory, but we won't find out until the American Hash. Jon III is actually a far out Jon. He did make it further than most of the Jons because he actually wanted to contend for the World Weed Championship, and he didn't make it out of round 1 of the Death Bowl 2 tournament, but he made it to the tournament, which is something that other Jons were not able to do. Here tonight, Jon III making his way out to the ring, just like Jon 60. The only thing about these Jons is I think they need different theme musics, they need different vibes, they need something different about them that really distinguishes them other than just their wardrobes. You know, I wouldn't imagine that 6 of the same people are existing at the same time. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's so many Jons in the division that it's hard for me to even keep up with how many there actually are. Furthermore, the matchup kicks off. It's underway. Jon 60, the champion, laying out Jon III in this match. Already taking it to the challenger, beating on his chest and trying to feel the energy from the crowd. Jon 60 picking up Jon III, going for 2 strikes, and now Jon III finally comes back with a reversal in this match. Clothesline. Oh my goodness. Right to the face of Jon 60. And right here we see a frontward DDT. A headlock DDT. Now he's going for it again. It seems like no, instead he's going for a power bomb. hard-hitting powerbomb right to the mat of Jon 60. And now a reverse DDT. Jon III pulling out unique offense, different from actually what we see from Jon II last week. Jon II now referring to himself as the best Jon, and honestly, I can't really deny his words after what we've seen last week. Jon III furthermore going for a clothesline once again. Now Jon 60 with a knee to the gut, whiplashing him right into the corner, trying to hit him with an elbow. Jon III reverses, now hitting a DDT right to the mat, and I think he miscalculated the elbow strike as Jon 60 tried to pull himself up from the ropes. Now he's rolling out of the ring. Oh my goodness, a body splash takes out Jon 60 right onto the floor. Jon 60 looking to get back to his feet. And Jon III taking him out once again. Now a knee right to the face, right to the third of Jon III. Right where the Roman numeral 3 mark is on his jaw. He lands it, and right here a Jon Dog from the corner, going for the first pinfall from Jon 60 in this matchup. And Jon 60 heading up to the top rope. Jon 60 is the 6th Jon, but the thing is, we don't know if he's actually the 6th Jon or the realest Jon. Kind of like anonymous. We don't know whether 1 is 2 or 2 is 1 or vice versa, if that even makes sense, because we're both anonymous and all these people here are Jons. But the point is that he's futuristic. He's actually from the future that he claims, and fuck, I believe it from the shit that we've seen from him. Ever since Mary Jania 420, the biggest weed event of the year, he's held the Real Jon Championship Dirty Dance Slam finishing maneuver from Jon III, taking it to the champion. Going for a pin, 1, 2, and a kick out from Jon 60 in this match. Right before 3, that Dirty Dance Slam looked pretty detrimental to me. Now frontward ZDT once again to Jon 60, 54-71 after a finisher. I know Jon 60 looking to come back in this match, and those punches are definitely going to do it for him. Looking for a comeback, beating on his chest, feeling the energy once again. Going for it. Elbow strike. Once again going for a Jon Dog, and then he misses again. Same thing from last week. Shades of last week from Jon 60. Oh my goodness. He's going for, oh my goodness, the 3rd plex. And he kicks out right before 3, just like the first. Dirty Dance Slam, taking him out with a frontward DDT headlock. Throwing Jon 60 over the top. Now he's going for a suplex. So much gloating what he does now, taunting the champ. Now throwing him over. He was setting up for a Dirty Dance Slam. Now looks like a knee takes out Jon 60. Kick out of 1 from the champ, who claims to be the real Jon. He believes he should actually be the only Jon in all of WWE, and anyone named Jon should be completely thrown out of the business. And a drop kick from Jon III being absolutely relentless. Now you see why he was thrown in to the Death Bowl 2 tournament. It looked like Jon 60 was going for a Dirty Dance Slam. And now Jon III reversing with a neck breaker. Both men are out. Jon 60 is laying right on the face of the third. And oh my goodness. Twisting the arm, going for another clothesline in this match. Jon III's not necessarily here to entertain anybody. Both men thinking of the same thing. Who's going to land the first strike? Oh my goodness! Clothesline out of nowhere from Jon 60. And now an uppercut. Now it looks like he's going for the futuristic sixplex. Jon III pulling himself up to the top. Jon 60 missing a drop kick, landing right on his face. Now looks like he finally hits the Dirty Dan Slam in this match. Is he going to be able to hit the pin? One. And at one, Jon III kicks out. I know Jon 60 has to have something else in mind. Reversal with a punch to the head. Now Jon 60 reversing Jon III's finishing maneuver attempt. I can't believe how much these men actually go through. Oh my goodness. All the Jons have been putting on incredible action. Senton. Oh my gosh. Landing on the concrete floor, the back of Jon 60 has to be completely demolished. Health is actually more critical on the champ than is Jon III. 109.5% to 90.3 if you look at the scores. These guys on SmokeDown doing everything they can. The referee trying to make a count out. And now Jon III laying out the champ with a big boot. I can't believe what we're seeing in this match. This is different from last week. Last week it was more back and forth. This right here is just Jon III completely giving it to the champ, and the champ every now and then pulling out an incredible surprise attack. And now we see the three-plex from Jon III. 1, 2, 3. Jon III pins the champion. Now how this works basically is Jon 60 has been having to face all the Jons in the division leading up to his challenge against Jon 1.1 for the title at the American Hash. But in 2 weeks' time, he's defending the title against the number one contender. In the week's time, he has to compete against a different Jon. And last week he competed against Jon 2. This week he competes against Jon III. And next week, because Jon III won, he'll be added to the match that was supposed to be him versus Jon versus... It was supposed to be Jon 60 versus Jon the Astronaut 5. I'm sorry that it's completely confusing. There's too many Jons. But next week it was supposed to be Jon 60 versus Jon the Astronaut 5 if he would have won. But because of what has happened next week, it'll be a triple threat match between Jon 60, Jon the Astronaut 5, and Jon III. That's going to make it harder and more difficult to see who gets the upper hand going into the SmokeDown exclusive event, the American Hash, in 2 weeks' time. We'll see what happens next week. But up next is going to be a huge matchup that everybody's been waiting for. Baron Dorman versus Mean Mark McCool. These two men are going to be facing each other in a triple threat match at the American Hash, with including Cool English. It'll be Baron Dorman, Cool English, and Mean Mark McCool. The winner faces Cool Kane at Cannabis Slam. We'll see what happens next.